One thing you cannot do as a leader is compel people to do something that they themselves do not embrace. Uh, Throughout history, you can see plenty of examples, and even in modern society. So one of the big things, obviously, China, when you think of stealing technology, stealing IP, you think China, right? Now China is starting to take copyright protection a little bit more seriously. Why? Because prominent Chinese entrepreneurs themselves are tired of other up-and-coming Chinese entrepreneurs just stealing their crap. So when you get Jack Ma and some of these other prestigious Chinese entrepreneurs, they don't want someone else coming there and stealing their stuff. So as a result, I think you're going to see China getting more interested in the concept of intellectual property, just out of self-interest. And it's a lot of things you look at. You just can't compel somebody. They have to do something themselves. In Iraq, the reason why everyone keeps talking about the surge, but it wasn't so much the surge. What happened was the Iraqi Sunni Muslims, kids in the background, the Iraqi Sunni Muslims got sick of the foreign Sunni Muslims who came from Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and other places, treating them like crap. And so they rose up against them, and they said, hey, look, we're ready to be part of a new Iraq. So it was something that happened that they themselves did. And one thing about this is you have to sort of, it takes people who are like, they've got to see your vision. You got to lay the vision and get on the vision. And, you know, I've looked at, I became a turnaround specialist. Like when I was in the Army or in civilian government, people who were deemed as sort of problem children would do well for me. One is, I told them, hey, it's a new slate. B, I saw people who really tried. And if I saw that, then I could work with you. The effort was there. They just needed some, you need to kind of peel back the onion a little bit to get to the root cause of whatever problem was in the way that was blocking them and help them work through it. But the initial desire was there. And that's what you have, is you got to have the desire. It starts with that. If you don't have that, you have nothing else. And I'll leave you this last story. George Marshall, he felt his biggest failure was not getting the Chinese communists, the Chinese nationalists to reconcile or have some kind of a peace treaty of some kind. But the fact of the matter is both Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong were willing to fight to the death to rule China. Neither man had any interest in backing down, and that was the reality. In fact, if nothing else, we were trying to use the only person we had influence on was Chiang Kai-shek, so we actually helped install the Chinese communists because in trying to compel peace, we were trying to compel the Chinese nationalists, led by Chiang, to do certain things. So we were reducing money to them, reducing weapons to them, so that Chiang would sue for peace. Well, the problem was there was no similar pressure being put by allies at Mao Zedong, particularly the Soviet Union. And so Mao's getting all of his supplies and resources, and we're cutting Chiang short. You know, who knows you can never say what would have happened, but we certainly made things more difficult for Chiang Kai-shek. So in part, we have a communist Chinese regime just because of our well-intention that backfired severely. So there you go, George Marshall, Mr. Strategist, who screwed us over on that one. Otherwise, but yeah, the basic principle was until they themselves wanted to do it. Same thing with the Israelis and the Egyptians in the peace agreement. Sadat and Begin both lost sons in the last Arab-Israeli war prior to the Yom Kippur War, prior to actually signing the Camp David Accords. They had personal loss, so they themselves were interested in moving past the violence. You can only do so much as an external actor. So taking it back from national policy to the business, there's only so much you can do as an external person. They have to embrace it, and that comes through persuasion and selling somebody on your vision and why that's right. And lastly, I know I said lastly, but hey, think about this. If you start understanding these things, you actually apply AI to see whether certain agreements will succeed or not. Anyway, some thoughts for you tonight. Thanks for watching.